Welcome to Life
On
Life's
Terms.
with your host Justin.
And it's Kenny.
Today's topics is how to separate political beliefs from relationships and lowered expectations. But before we get into those topics, we like to do our shout-outs. So you want to take it away?
Since it's always training season, what does your meal plan look like? Is it keeping a healthy diet, robbing from your palate, and triggering unhealthy cravings? Keep on your A game and stop cravings at the same time with Onopoke. Onopoke is a perfect place to stuff your face with something that ties into your fitness goals. Try miso salmon poke, spicy Thai salmon, or the albacore tuna poke on your choice of veg, quinoa, or rice. Eat healthy, eat right, eat Onopoke.
Would you like to feel like an astronaut? Would you like to detach from this world, disconnect for a little while? Where is the best place to do this? Of course, it's at Modern Gravity. For only $39.99 a month, you can have the astronaut experience and detach from the world for an hour's session. For more details, please visit Modern Gravity's website at www.moderngravity.ca for your next float.
Badooch.
How's the relationship stuff going this month?
Like in my own life, or
Well, just like the shit that you've learned. Just in general.
well,
Because, I think, let me clarify. I think when we do this stuff, it becomes almost a focus in your life.
yeah, I'm like going to school.
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Because like at the beginning of the month we talk about like certain things that we want to get out of it, and with relationships there's certain topics that we decided to look into, like codependency and boundaries and so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And we've had some very enlightening conversations on those topics, and I've been able to like slowly implement a few changes in my like day-to-day like thinking processes when it comes to relationships, and like how I am handling. Well, one thing's for sure, okay? I'm a lot more fucking judgy with codependency. Everything I'm like, that's codependent.
Yeah.
That's codependent. I'll hear a song on the radio. That's a fucking codependent song.
Yeah.
And so like my awareness of really what codependency is, and like even like it's deeper now, it's greater, and even my awareness of like boundaries in between how I talk to like say female friends has changed. And I'm more I'd say compassionate towards my girlfriend's feelings while conversing with a friend, because I'm flirty by nature. And oftentimes if I'm talking to a friend on the phone and my girlfriend's around, she gets a little disgruntled.
Are you still staying authentic though?
Well, yeah, because I'm being vulnerable and honest, and I'm not trying to like do something that takes me outside of myself. I'm still like, I'm just trying to implement new things that I think will be healthier in the long run.
Okay. So like, is it a change? I guess what I'm getting at is it a change for the relationship, or is it a change for you? Are you becoming less flirtatious for you, or are you becoming less flirtatious for the relationship? Because I think you don't have to answer that. I mean, that's up to you to figure out. But I think that again is I have learned that it's. So I'll use this as an example. So one of the topics today is how to separate political beliefs from relationships. So I'll use myself as an example to make this point clear. I'm a very politically passionate person. I have my beliefs, and maybe I align more of a libertarian view than I do conservative or liberal. I believe I align with that political belief more so than anything else, but not entirely. Okay. And what I found is I have had to come to a realization of accepting my partner for who they are and their political beliefs as what they are, and not taking that entitlement of judgment that I think that like they're just being silly, or they'll come to the light, so to say, for my own self. Has nothing to do with the relationship. It has that it's not going to run rent in my head anymore. That's why I took the line. And as a consequence, my relationship will be better for it. Not just my relationship with her, but my relationship with everybody. This way it allows me to not have to sit there and argue a point of my political beliefs. I can just have a statement of my political beliefs, and I don't have to change any minds, right? So in the same regard is like, are you changing because you don't want this flirtation stuff to run rent in your head? Or are you changing it for your relationship? Because if it's solely for the relationship, it's a lot different than doing it for you, and the consequence is the relationship becomes beneficial.
I think it's like an 80-20. I think like 80% I'm doing it for the benefit of our relationship, and 20% of me is I'd like to make slow and steady changes to my character to become the best version of myself.
That's amazing, your honesty.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's very honest. Because like I said, I realized that it was better for me to do it for myself. Because it's not just what I've come to understand with myself is I make patterns. And so if the pattern is relevant in a consistent matter with my partner, it's also relevant to everybody else in my life. Right? Because it's who I am. Right? Like maybe something that I don't even see. Right? So
I think being like flirtatious, it's only something that's going to affect my partner, and so that's why, like, for primarily I think I'm changing this and trying to lessen that for the relationship as a whole. But like, opposed to if I was like binge drinking every day, not just like flirting, and I don't go out and like pursue and try to like flirt with every person or female that I meet. It's just some relationships I've had for years, and we just have a flirty relationship. Like the listeners have heard me on the mic with like Megan, or like Maria. I've known those girls for years, and it's always like a, hey, good looking, how's it going type thing. But that's where it lays, right? It doesn't go any further than that. But if I was like, binge drinking all the time, then my whole family and friends are going to feel the effects of my binge drinking.
Well, and I think that's the thing too. Whether you were binge drinking or flirting, whoever's in a relationship with you, they're the ones who have to make the decision. We just had a discussion about this, whether they accept it or not.
Yeah.
And that's a clear-cut decision.
Yeah.
If they don't accept it, well then, okay, see you later. And the reason why I say that is because it's not up to us to change the other person that we're with. It's up to us to accept the other person for what they are. And if you can't accept, well then move on to the next person who you can accept.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way how I see that. There's no point in saying I can mold this person into something that is amicable to me, or something that is more appeasing to me.
Yeah, no, we can only really change ourselves.
That's right. So that's why I was saying, like, is this a change for you, or is this like what is the dynamic in that? Because that's a honest question, and I appreciate your honesty saying that it's more so for the relationship and less about yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then
I'm just trying to stick with the old saying, happy wife, happy life, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't really, I kind of see it as if I'm in a happy mood or a good place, the relationship will also consequently have the same impact, because that's what I'm bringing to the table. You know what I mean? So as long as I'm kind of on track, everything else is hopefully on track, and I'm probably more capable of dealing if it's not.
I was listening to this cool book, audiobook, and there was this terminology in there that I've kind of carrying it with me in my back pocket everywhere I go for last week. It's called blissipline. It's the discipline of being in the state of bliss all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, blissipline.
Huh. Who wrote this book?
It's called Code of the Extraordinary Mind.
Okay.
I don't know. I can get the author.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never. I never.
It's the guy that started Mind Valley.
Okay.
That guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I like the classical self-help stuff,
Some Stephen Covey.
like the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous.
Yeah.
and like Melody Beattie and that stuff. I guess I go and Jordan Peterson, that kind of stuff. Like that's, I guess Jordan Peterson's a little bit new, but his psychology is very classical, right? Like his clinical stuff is very classical. That's why he relies upon talking about relationships in the Bible, because it's always that classic hero story. And then he tells you the classic hero story is a codependent story.
Yeah.
Like you're never going to, we all aspire to be that.
Every fucking Disney movie out there is codependent.
That's right. But the reality is when we're aspiring to be that, you have to take responsibility of how far you can go. And then assessing, like back to this, how to separate political beliefs from relationships. We are in a politically polarized time, whether you be in America or Canada. And I think that a lot of relationships are getting separated because of the identity or the tribalism of political spectrums has become so abundant that it becomes very, very strange. I mean, it's one thing to have political beliefs, but when it starts becoming into a place where you're fighting over irrelative things, like it just doesn't make any, like it's not going to make or break. You're not going to save the country because you and this other person are having this argument. You know what I mean? And I think in the heat of the moment, I know for myself, I have to keep that in perspective, because I have a hard time just saying, yeah, well, maybe that's right. But like, I just have a hard time saying that, especially in the political realm.
You don't know the magic words?
What are your magic words?
Well, when anything arises from our significant other that we disagree with but would like to avoid conflict, 2 simple words. Yes, dear.
Yeah, I'm not that passive. I think, yeah, like I learned that. Before, what I would do is I would be that passive, or I would stuff that down. And then next thing I know, by stuffing that down,
You become implosive and ready to rip
and then I'm
somebody's
like,
head
you
off.
have no fucking idea what you're talking about. And then it's just on blast.
Yeah.
Right? And I start bringing up conversations so I learned that in recovery. It's best to deal with things here and now than keep an inventory of it all. And I know that if I don't deal with it here and now, I'm keeping inventory. And if I'm keeping inventory, fuck, I'm sick. Like I've got bigger problems now. Right? So I recognize very, very quickly how I need to release that. And the only way to release that is, and these words are so hard to eat. I mean, this entire month, this has been the thought, is acceptance is the key to all of my problems today. When I don't accept, it's because I'm not accepting some person, place, thing, or situation of being exactly what it is supposed to be and what my higher power, my understanding of my higher power has presented to me. It's me who doesn't accept the environment that's happening, right? It's not that it's being done to me. It's I'm not accepting it. And I am not accepting the value of who I am. See, I talked about this early on in the blogs about my identity and how it was difficult for me to find my identity. And it took a long time to do that. And that's why today I always have to resort to, is this beneficial for me or is this beneficial for others? Because I know if it's beneficial for me, it's going to impact others around me. So the question of, is it beneficial for others, really doesn't matter anymore. Like I could give a fuck. And that's where you get that I don't give a fuck attitude. because you know today that you are the best version of you. And not everybody's going to like you, and that might be on them. Right? Just like if I'm getting upset in a political argument with my partner, well, why am I getting so upset? There's no point in looking at her going, you should change. What needs to be looked at is, why is this bothering me so much? Why is it that everybody has to have this? Why does she have to be a Justin? Why is it that I have to change her mind? Why is that? You know, once I look at that, then I can start understanding, well, look, I'm just taking this a little too far. And then with that perspective, it seems to me that I don't fall into that trap, right? Like perfect story, that MAGA thing with those kids from the Covenant Catholic school down in the States. I mean, that's really in Canada the only situation that we could talk about because it's not here in Canada.
Yeah.
But we look at that, and it's been a long time. But you look at everybody who saw that video. I mean, my initial reaction, have you seen that stuff, Kenny?
No, I haven't even seen it, no.
You got to see that. Because everybody's first, I think the majority of people's first reaction was, oh, this elderly Native guy is being being persecuted by these white Catholic kids. And my initial reaction right away was, look at, man, kids are kids. Let them be fucking kids. Just let them be kids. You were an asshole as a teen. So was I. We grew up to be better men. You know what I mean? To sit there and say, well, they should have respect and they should blah, 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 blah. And then people are calling for for them to be doxxed. Are you crazy? Fucking crazy? They're children. See, this is the thing that I think we lost. When did it become the job of social justice warriors, so to say, to make a social law? We already have that. It's called the police. The police. You and I have been subject to that law many, many times in our life. And to all of a sudden be subject to a fucking lynching mob in a social media platform, in a law or a crime that we as society have not came together, made a bill, and passed into a law is ridiculous. Let the police do their fucking job. Let them do what they're going to do. Report them to the police if you believe in it that much. I mean, sure, I would love to go out in Ontario and say, all these people who have been charged and convicted of child molestation due to my past, I would love to go out and be my own lynching mob. But is that appropriate? No. That's the police's job. We as society believe in the justice system to a degree. And why are we taking it upon ourselves to become these people? That's not a responsibility.
Everybody's trying to be a vigilante.
Well, and this is the thing, is our society that fucked up? That's the point.
Maybe it is that fucked up and everybody needs to be a vigilante.
But in comparison to what? In comparison to what? Afghanistan? Are you fucking kidding me? Or China? I mean, we have one of the best societies in the world. In the world. I mean, when what's his face said, you wake up every morning to the full abundance of this life in the Western world, capitalism. You're not going to find this abundance of wealth in China or fucking Russia. It is a privilege to be here.
Yeah.
And for us to say, oh, you said this, and then we crucify you in social media, that is crazy. It's crazy. I mean, the social media target, you might as well just be the same institution of a black hooded executioner. It's the same thing. Okay, there are crazy people out there who will do crazy things for not crazy ideas. Just bullshit. And this is what we're subjecting people to. I think we all need to take a step back and be like, why do we have police? Why do we have a justice system? I mean, there's a reason, we are going rogue from a constitutional belief so many times. And this, to tie it all into back to the relationship piece, this is the relationship that we as individuals have with our society. And this is why it's so polarized. And then it trickles back down into your relationships with your mother and your father and your partner and all of these people in your life. Because if there's anything that is number one in our society, no man in this world can be an island. You need society, you need relationships. This is just a fact. And what we're conducting right now is tribalism. And I think the reason why this tribalism is happening is because there's just the geographical state that we live in is just too damn big. And the governing bodies itself cannot provide for everybody individually. And that's a problem. Everybody feels as if they're not being heard. And then the spout off or the overflow is fucking Twitter.
Yeah.
And then when we collectively look at society, it's flailing around like an addict who's ready to go to treatment.
You know, I was thinking about that yesterday. Nobody really has a fucking idea. Like 98% of the people out there have no fucking idea what they are contributing to and how they have played into the machine of capitalism, and how they're cog in a wheel, and how they are addicted to the dopamine hits from every time their MS or Facebook Messenger dings, and people like.
Well, I think there's a growing consciousness.
People are becoming awake and aware of it because, thank God, the internet, right? It has its ups, it has its downs. One of its ups is that people have unlimited access to information. But there's, like, my parents are fucking computer illiterate. They look up, like, very, 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 like, pigeonholed searches. You know, recipes for fucking apple crumble.
Yeah.
Right? How to fucking change the oil on a 2004 Toyota.
It's like how-tos.
Yeah.
Like DIY stuff.
Super simple stuff. And it's like they don't read books. They're not open to listening to somebody talk, like a TED Talks or a seminar or anything like that. They've shut off their learning. Opposed from the fucking Discovery Channel. Yeah. And they're just stuck in this perpetuating like cycle, and everything's a cycle. I've noticed, like, in my parents' lives, it's just one revolving cycle of, like, you know, her and my stepdad getting into a little domestic argument, my stepdad being passive, my mom being aggressive. Fucking, you know, he's a workaholic, and, like, if she's pissed off at him one day, he's gonna work overtime the next day, and that's how he gets back at her. And it's like
yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I if I were to reflect on my mom in regards to dealing with social media, yeah, like, she uses Facebook and stuff like that, but at the same time, she doesn't really buy in. You know what I mean? Like, she doesn't buy into, like, Instagram, and she doesn't buy into Snapchat. She just doesn't buy into that stuff. Yeah. And I think even for my own self, kind of the saving grace was the life, so to say, because in that capacity, I wasn't allowed to be on social media. So for a long time, in all of my 20s, I didn't have a presence on the internet at all. And that saved my ass now. Now, being a recovered addict, knowing what synapses can do to me, knowing what this chemical thing can generate. I don't want to, like, you and I have had many, and I'm going to go out on the record and say it right now, you and I have had many conversations where we will not chase the topic on this show. We're not going to chase it. Just because we see ratings go up on one topic doesn't mean that that's what we're going to be generating as that one topic, because that's not the premise of this show. The premise of this show is to touch on many different topics, because we want to learn as much as we possibly can about a bunch of different stuff, right? Yeah. So like, the point is what you start seeing people on Twitter, so on and so forth. They're just clickbait fuckers. That's all they are. They're one-upping each other. And again, that old generation, you're starting to see like Canadian media and American media that come from cable networks trying to use Twitter and trying to use all of these social media platforms, and they're just trying to one-up each other because they're looking at it as ratings. Yeah. I'm not here to produce ratings. I'm not here. I mean, I hope that this content gets out to as many people as it possibly can. Okay? That's a part of this. But I'm not here to say something that's supposed to top up what I last said and become disingenuous or unauthentic to who I am in order to get more listeners. That's not what I'm here to do. I'm here to learn with everybody, with the people who are listening and the people that come in and talk to us, and you and I having these conversations. That's what this is about. It's not about what's the next thing we can do to get another 10,000 downloads. That's not what this is, right? I don't want to be a flare. That's not ever what I want to be. Right?
As long as we can consistently put out something that's valuable.
Well, and that's I think that's the piece. Like we're starting to see the problem in, especially when it comes to creating business relationships with social media. It's all about how many likes. How many likes you got? What's your reach? Okay, those are valid questions, but the reality is for every one like you have, there's 5 other people who've seen it. See, the numbers coming out aren't exactly correct.
Yeah.
They're not real, right? And you're subject to somebody's algorithm. All they have to do is change a little bit of that algorithm, and next thing you know, you have 100,000 downloads, right? Like that's all that has to change. And sure, it's you and I. It's our job to figure out what that algorithm is and to try to manipulate it enough so that we get this content to the masses, which is what we do, and I think we do it fairly effectively. But in the same process, we're not doing it to get clicks. We're doing it because we actually believe in the stuff that we're talking about here on the show. See, there's a difference. I'm not just going to go off spouting about all this bullshit. Like, I'm not going to go and talk about the new political stuff that's going on in the Canada. There's no point to it. I mean, the fact is it's perpetually becoming polarized, and the direct influence that's happening is it's separating families. I mean, you're seeing it. People just don't talk about politics anymore because it's too polarized. It's too much. And then you have people not watching the news anymore. And you have people not informed anymore because it's just too much. There's an abundance. It's overwhelming. And then what ends up happening is people aren't aware. And then that becomes a conflict. And it just grows. That just grows.
Well, most people nowadays get all their news from social media.
Twitter is the biggest one. Like and I think Jack Dorsey's a fuck. I'm going to go out on the record and that's exactly what I'm going to say. Straight up. I think Jack Dorsey is a fuck. And the reason why I say that is because nobody knows the goddamn rules of what's fucking right and what's wrong on fucking Twitter. Same thing with Instagram. We closed the show yesterday about that. You just don't know. You know, like you know how, I mean.
Well, the internet's the wild, wild west, man.
Well, my partner, a little while ago, I was like, you know how many times I've been called a misogynist? And she was blown away. Blown away. She couldn't believe that people I've been called a racist. I'm the furthest thing from a racist. Like, furthest thing from. But people, as soon as you say one thing, because they haven't heard the entire context of the statement, they would just rather make those assumptions. And this, again, I think comes down to the relationship that we have with the understanding of information. Because what it boils down to is you and I are the MTV generation. For the most part, most people in our generation have a hard time keeping an attention span longer than 7 minutes. 7 to 8 minutes. That's all we got.
Yeah.
You look at the
if that.
and you look at the kids younger than us that are coming up, it's even less. It's about the span of a YouTube YouTube
3
clip.
minutes.
Yeah. That's the span. So that's as long as they have for what's called independent attention seeking. So they can give their attention for 3 minutes on one specific thing. That's it.
I think that's even overshooting it.
Well, so then what ends up happening is when you hear these sound bites and all this stuff, you make your assumption on literally 3 minutes.
If that.
That's
Our sound bites are 10 seconds sometimes.
sometimes. Well, most of them are 30 seconds.
Okay.
Actually, right? Most of them are 30 seconds. So like some are 10. But at the same time, what are you generating by doing that? I mean, you're generating people making assumptions based upon 10, 20, 30 seconds. I mean, what I do love is that YouTube has just made it so that videos can be played up to 5 minutes long now. So you can have extended videos now not on YouTube, on Instagram. And I think that'll kind of combat it. But I'm not a Facebook fan either. I mean, you ask you look into any of these executives in social media, none of their kids have a tablet. Not allowed. Why do you think that is? There's I wouldn't allow my kid to have a tablet. No fucking way. I wouldn't allow them on the internet. Hands down. You need to read 5 books for like fucking 20 minutes on the internet. That's that. You're allowed a movie a night. You know what I mean? Like that's that. And the reason why I say that is because while you and I talked about it, there's no imagination.
Yeah.
Like, how many times have you and I built our relationship based upon the imagination of where life and life's terms is going?
Several. All the time.
So how big of a relationship builder is that for us to have that creative, imaginary contribution back and forth?
It's very valuable.
It's huge.
Yeah.
That's gone. That's almost like the way of the dodo bird. Like that's so crazy. And to believe that there's not social engineering that's not going to impact your relationships, it's already shown that it's happening because of the political polarization. It's happening. These are social engineers that are doing this. You can't say that they don't exist. I mean, I've worked long enough with the government to know that policy creates social experiment. That's fucking hands down. Hands down. So we need to start looking at, as a society, at what that is, because it's not, I mean, look at young men. We talked about this before, where young men aren't getting girlfriends because they're afraid of them.
Yeah.
We have guys who are what are they called? Non-voluntary virgins. They don't want to be a virgin, but they still can't get laid.
Yeah, like 40-year-old virgin.
Like, what are we producing? You know, like, it's crazy, man, to see the social fabric just kind of waste away. You know, you think about the 60s, and sure, people can say it was misogynistic and all this shit, but the reality is neighbors did shit for neighbors. That's what they did. Are you going to, in your apartment, are you going to go to your next door neighbor and say, "You got a cup of sugar?"
They'll tell you to fuck off.
Or you'll go to the corner store and just buy a bag of sugar. You see what I mean? Like, we don't have that anymore.
Yeah, it's really affecting the fabric of society. It's like pulling a string at a time.
It's crazy to see how relationships have truly suffered. And I think one of the issues is that we didn't see it on the landscape, like between neighbors and stuff. And now that it's coming into the household and we're seeing it, I mean, either you're a Trumper or you're not. It's almost like heroin. Either you're doing heroin or you're not doing heroin. That's almost what it's become, right? Whether you align with all of his beliefs or just some of them, doesn't matter. You're a Trumper, right? So like, the problem that I have is because it's so politicized, you're seeing in America, marriage is breaking up. They can't handle it. In Canada, we're starting to see liberals only hang out with liberals and conservatives only hang out with conservatives, and there's no There is no dialogue, and that's the outside. That's like the outside rung of relationships. Now, heaven forbid that you change. Can you imagine being in a relationship for 10, 15 years and you were a liberal and then you changed to a conservative, more of a conservative view? What does that spell right now?
Divorce.
It's and that is nuts. Like, I talked with that guy who I was saying was a politician that obviously had very strong political views. I said, how is it that your marriage survived? And the biggest thing that he said, well, she's just always wrong. I just don't tell her. You know? And I mean, I get what he's saying because that's how he got through, but I don't want to be that.
Sounds like a pretty miserable way to live.
Well, it sounds like a guy who can't accept. And what he has learned is how to deal with resentment in a half positive way. Well, I'm not going to go to a fucking AA meeting and spout off about my partner. That's not what it's about. What it's really about is it's about accepting them for what they are and being okay with that. That's what matters. You know? So like, as much as I valued what he said, I just realized that that's not what I want in my life.
So what else for relationships? What do we have more on the plate for this month?
Lowered Expectations is coming up next.
Oh, lowered expectations. This is where I shine.
So this is kind of a segment in the show where we're going to talk about... so I talked about that big girl. You talked about that big girl too.
Yeah, it's like riding a scooter.
Did
It's
you ever,
fun.
Did you
It's
ever?
fun,
Did
but
you ever?
you don't want to let your friends see you.
Oh, you're talking about a Vespa, right? Not like the ones that you put your phone on? Which one are you talking about?
Yeah, Vespas suck.
Yeah. Have you ever ridden one, though?
A big girl or a Vespa?
A Vespa.
No, not a Vespa, but I've ridden like one of those like off-roading scooters.
There you go. A little bit more manly, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk about bar stars. What is a bar star first?
A bar star, female or male?
Both.
Okay, so you got, it's kind of like that douchey weekend warrior, where he goes to the bar and he uses drinks as manipulation to pick up girls. There's a lot of fist pumping. There's a lot of, they'll try to wear expensive clothes and like, there's a lot of ego.
Mm-hmm.
And
So all you 18-year-old girls out there
Yeah.
who are listening to this show, going to bars, this is the guy you want to avoid.
yeah,
This is the guy who probably has VD, herpes,
yeah.
or some fucking disease in that general area that you don't want to catch at your young age.
I noticed like the bars here in Edmonton, well, I haven't been frequently, but like when I was going to the bars a couple of years ago, there was like you're working like blue collar guys that come and get drunk and like shit faced drunk and usually bring their girlfriend. And then you have like your gangsters who are like standing in the corners
Yeah.
wearing all their jewelry and not dancing and buying a lot of drinks and just trying to like prey on the drunk girls at the end of the night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then bar stars.
The girls?
Yeah, let's go there.
The girls that are bar stars usually work in the industry
Yeah.
and then like they'll work on the weekends and they'll drink during the week.
Mm-hmm.
You'll usually find them with the gangsters as like
Yeah.
groupies.
Yeah.
And don't impregnate them.
Why?
It's just not good.
What's the result of impregnating a bar star?
A lot of hurt feelings. There's some infidelity. There's really high child support.
Can be.
Yeah, it can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And herpes.
Would
if you're not cautious.
yeah, if you're not cautious. Would they be considered a lowered expectation?
Lowered expectation. Well, it depends on, you got to consider the source. You got to consider the person of the opposite sex and where they're at. And I would say, like, where I'm at today,
Yeah.
like, the Barstar girls and the Barstar guys are lowered expectations. Like, I just broke up with my longtime girlfriend.
Yeah.
I'm going looking for a floozy.
You got to get on someone to get over someone.
Get under somebody to get off. So
Yeah.
same old, same. Yeah. But they're unhealthy.
Yeah.
They're very toxic type of relationships. You'll find a lot of like lacking emotional intelligence, a lot of codependency, a lot of chemical dependency.
One night stands. Worst one night stand where you woke up, and I think we all have this story where we're like, oh my God, that's what I did.
Yeah. I had this one, like, I already had to like bite the bullet on her looks. Okay.
And were you loaded already?
Loser pissed. And I was already like, she was the only one around the bar and like, like offering herself. It was very obvious. And then like just had the like biggest, hairiest orangutan, like Amazon bush ever. And it like went down her legs. It was terrible.
Down her legs? What do you mean?
Like down the inside of her legs.
Like she could have put beads on it and it became a purse?
No, I mean like the hair of her vagina met the hair of her legs. Like, how normally in between the thighs it's like bald?
Yeah.
Yeah, hers was like hairy. So like you can see it with underpants on.
Oh, wow.
That was the worst.
That's crazy.
That was the worst.
And how did you feel afterwards?
About as ashamed as I feel right now rethinking it.
Could we potentially call you the Beastmaster?
Holy fuck.
Pull your mic up a bit. There you go.
I don't want to pull anything up right now. I want to pull my hood over my head. What about you?
Okay, so I worked in the patch.
Oh, a camp 8?
And so there was a time before my long-term relationship where I would probably fuck all of the camp girls. I was one of the youngest guys in the bush.
Yeah, but what do you mean all the camp girls? All the camp girls are not nice looking.
Like all camp girls. So I had a reputation of going into the camps because I always had probably cocaine on me. And I am such a fucking loser alcoholic that what I used to do is I used to take, the guys are going to get pissed. I would take like those big 4-liter jugs of windshield wiper fluid, dump them all out, clean them so that you can't even smell the windshield wiper fluid in it, pour vodka in it, and then throw blue food dye in it. So I could get it past the dry camp because we weren't allowed any booze. And then I would bring at least 4 pounds of weed for a month up into the camp because you got to smoke your dope, and then I'd bring some blow, right? Just to top like the icing. And I got a couple of good ones. So anyways, we were. That was my that was my MO all of the time going into camp. Everybody knew it. I was one of the youngest party chiefs in the bush, so I was like, I made really good money. I was probably in the $200,000 to $300,000 range as a junior party chief. Young and like more on the engineering side, so I wasn't a rig pig. And that was bad news because I definitely used that for my advantage.
For your leverage.
Yeah. So there was a time, this is a good one. So there was a time I was working, first job ever. I was working in a place called Fox Creek, Alberta. and we were doing the Alliance pipeline. We were doing the laterals on the Alliance pipeline. Biggest fucking pipe I ever saw. It was an 86-inch pipe. You and me and some other fat fuck, not that you're a fat fuck, that's why we need another fat fuck. We could slide from Fort St. John, BC, all the way to Chicago in this pipe. No problem. Okay, that's how big. That gives you the idea of how big this pipe is.
Yeah.
It's 86-inch fucking pipe. It's huge.
Yeah.
Okay. So we were laying this pipe, and we were getting about 100 meters done a day. So
Yeah.
I'm going to preface what the world was like then. And if we got 100 meters a day by Friday, the big consultants would come out with boxes and boxes of booze on Friday, and then they would hand out a bottle to everybody for Friday drag up. Drag up meant we're taking it easy on the weekends. We're going to prep the next 500 meters, and no pipe is going to get laid. It's basically what happened. So we just get fucking pissed up. We'd have to convoy out so that nobody hit anything. I unfortunately hit a moose. So that put me in kind of like the shit box. So at that time, I was just an assistant. I wasn't a party chief. I was just learning the trade, so to say, but wasn't even really serving. What I was doing was I was basically mapping out the welds on the pipe.
Yeah.
And then there was this lowering in crew. And me and this guy, I'd love to say his name because it makes the story. But anyways, I'm going to omit his name. We worked with the lowering in crew. And the lowering in crew, I'm going to throw this guy under the bus because he's a fuckwad.
Don't do it.
Yeah, no, I'm going to do it. Nobody would find him anyways. I don't know his last name. So his name was Army, and Army had his daughter working on the lowering in crew. We used to call her Jeeper Girl.
Why?
Because she used to jeep the pipe. So what jeeping is like it's basically this electronic thing that goes around the pipe and it looks for any of the cracks in the welds and in the pipe, basically is what it does. On the outside before it goes in the ground. So there's Jeeper Girl, and we're in like, if you guys look up Fox Creek in Alberta, it's like maybe 1,000 people. Not even. Maybe like 900 people really live there. And it's an oil town. And so anyways, we're in this bar, and my buddy, we'll call Jay, is hooking up with this fucking Jeeper Girl. Now, the living situation is Jay is also an assistant. However, for me, I didn't have... So usually they double you up in the rooms. So we had a superintendent, a survey superintendent, who was right next to my room, in his own room. And then I had my own room with a double bed, because the guy that I was working with fucked off. He quit the job. And then there was another room with Jay and his party chief sharing that room. So Jay's getting fucked up with Jeeper Girl, and Jay comes over to me and he says, look, Justin, I really need to borrow your room tonight. Will you give me the key? Just go sleep in my room, like with the party chief or whatever. Yeah, okay, whatever. So I give him the key. And he fucks off to my room, and he's banging this fucking Jeeper Girl all night long.
But those like camp trailers.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't a trailer. It was a hotel.
Oh,
we were in a hotel, right? So, regardless, though, we'll get there. So, what ended up happening then was I got loser fucking drunk that night. Forgot that I had given my key away. I'm standing in front of the door, realize that I have no key, and what does Justin do? He goes down to fucking front desk and asks for another key. Walk in, and there's my buddy's white ass just fucking nailing this girl, right?
Yeah.
So Justin doesn't even take off his Carhartts nor his boots, passes out in the bed in the next bed. And I'm out like a light. I'm in like blackout drunk mode is where I'm at. Next morning I wake up and I'm still pretty loaded, but it's a Saturday. You know, drag up just happened on a Friday.
Were you naked?
No, I had all my clothes on. That's how loaded I was. So
I mean, like you didn't get skinned down.
No, nothing like that. So I go to the truck, and I'm so loaded, I have to run my finger along the door to find the keyhole to get into the fucking truck. Okay, that's where I'm at the next morning. That's the shape I'm in. I get in the truck, and I start it, and the windows are up, and I can smell the booze off myself in the truck. The supervisor comes out of his room, and I know he's coming to see me, and I really don't want, like, this guy's just a square box, you know, he's a straight shooter, and I don't want him to like smell me, basically. So I roll down the window a crack, and I'm not really coherent. And he's talking about something about loud noises on the wall and hooting and hollering, and it sounded like he had a really good time and all this shit. Yeah, I had a great time. That's all I'm saying, you know. And so Jeeper Girl's gone already, and he's asking me for my time tickets. I'm like, oh yeah, it's in the room. Just go in the room and get my time ticket. So he goes in the room, and who's butt naked? My buddy Jay. And the superintendent, Richard, was like pretty sure that there was sex going on that night. He comes out, he comes to the truck, and he goes, Justin, how long have you been out here for? It's like, I don't know, maybe 30 days or something, like a month or something. He goes, it doesn't mean you're allowed to start fucking the crew. He goes, that's totally against company policy. I'm now trying to explain to him
That you're not gay.
that I'm not gay. One, secondly, he just fucked a girl on the crew, like not like on the luring in crew. So that was a pretty big mess. That was like my first project ever in the survey field, and then there was another time where my assistant brought somebody. So we were sharing a room. My assistant brought some girl in, and when you're a party chief, you're a crew chief or whatever, you don't really have like. You want to sleep because you're working like literally 20 hours a day. Literally is what you're working. And so this guy, I don't know, and chairmen go out, like assistants go out for dinner, and they usually get drunk that night and whatever, okay? And so anyways, he brought this girl back in, and I guess he didn't tell her that there was like two people in the room. So he starts nailing her, and I was like, so when's my turn? All I hear is her just fucking slapping the shit out of him. How dare you do this to me? He's like, and then I see her. I'm like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. You fucked that?
Hey, she was a really nice person.
I bet. And so yeah, that was another one. And then I walked in once on my party chief's wife. So she went to surprise him. Again, this was early in my career. And so we're in Drayton Valley, another shithole town here in Alberta. And I had all this equipment for just the equipment that we use. Doesn't matter what it was. And my party chief said, okay, put that in my room. So I'm carrying all like fucking 5 cases up to his room. I crack open the door, and all I hear is his wife going, oh, Bushman, just fuck me, Bushman.
What?
And she's bent over naked with her big fucking fat ass. And she's like, don't even take your cutting chaps off. Just come fuck me, Bushman, and all this shit. I'm like, my face went so red, I turned around.
And just dipped out,
just fucking ran.
Did you ever tell him?
My fucking
Did you
life.
tell him?
Well, he suspected it as soon as like the door closed. And then he walked in behind me, and it was like this thing, like him and I worked together for months, and we never talked about it. It was like when it was ever tense in the truck, you knew both of us that's what we were thinking about. Like tense and quiet and nothing's being said.
That's how I feel sometimes in the house with my girlfriend's kids.
Like that's what's on the mind.
Like sometimes, like for sure they get traumed out.
Oh, because you're nailing her?
Yeah.
Oh.
Like I never experienced that, so I don't know where they're at, but I see like a mixture of like shame, fear, and anger in their eyes when I look at them after.
Does it make you, do you get excited because you see that in them?
No, like I feel kind of sorry for them. Well, what? They're fucking, like one's a young adult, one's a teenager. Go get a job.
So I kind of
get out of the fucking house here.
I wish I could remember some of the beasts that were so-called slayed in the oil field, but I was a pretty nasty drunk. I just know by reputation, like they used to call me the Beast Master. I didn't know why. And that was in a time when cell phones didn't have like cameras in them. So probably I would know, but most times I was blackout drunk. Like I always drank to a blackout.
Okay, so like, just so the listeners know, in Alberta, you know, in the oil field, and you're working on camps, there's the occasional like dragon that needs to get slayed. That everybody will take their turn on this dragon at the camp, and they're like, "Oh yeah, that's a Camp 8."
Yeah, yeah.
So in reality, a Camp 8 is like a City 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. That's
That's
we've all. Well, you know what though? I can say this because we were not so much like drillers, really, for the survey, like the survey side of things.
yeah.
So, like,
Yeah, you guys were like cleaner and way more mannered.
well, to a degree. I mean, you always had sawdust all over you. You know, your
I
hands.
just mean like cleaner people.
Your hands are always like we were the guys who walked into the bush with a laptop and a chainsaw. We had sophisticated equipment, but we had a very dangerous job in the context that we were always cutting down trees. So it's like being like a logger without a massive group. It's me and another guy. That's it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shit goes down. One of us is probably dead. Like literally, that's usually what happens out there, especially in the survey field. So, like, we got more strippers and stuff because we were the guys going into a place before the camp was even built. Like
Yeah.
that's what we did. So either we were in camp or we were in a tent, right? Like, and I've tented it numerous times on the side of a cut line, which isn't even a pipeline yet. Like I've done that numerous times. So there's not really much to fuck except for a cow, maybe. You know, I used to call the office all the time. I'd be like, I've been out here for too long and I'm trying to figure out how to put the hoofs of the cow in my boots. Then they would get me the fuck out.
You need rubber or Velcro gloves.
That's for sheep. There's no sheep, man. There's no sheep. Believe me. Some of the one night stands. So let's talk about this. I don't know how to phrase this, but you know, there's always like in life, there's always the girls that are the hanger-ons.
Like the stage 5 clears? Or the ones that we want to hang on to?
Like the ones who just want a gangster in their life. Those girls.
Oh, groupies.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good name. But they're obviously bad news, right? How many times has it been where they were claimed by another guy and you nailed that girl?
Many.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually I almost took pride in it. It's like the bigger and more dangerous the gangster was whose girlfriend I banged, more
Really?
kudos for me.
Really?
Yeah.
That's dangerous.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. It was.
Most of them are dead or in jail.
Yeah. Was, though, in the moment. It could.
Yeah.
That could spell disaster.
Well, it's kind of like having sex in public. You know what I mean? Like, where's the craziest place you ever banged?
Majors Hill in Ottawa.
Majors Hill in Ottawa?
Yeah.
Was it like a big occasion, or was it?
So, like, Majors Hill is just this open. Anybody could Google it. You could see it. It's right behind the Parliament buildings.
Yeah.
And it overlooks the river.
Yeah.
And you can see Gatineau across or Ville de Hall, like Quebec,
Okay.
on the other side. And that's it's just a great big open field. It's a great big circle. That's pretty much where all the street dealers hang out, and they have the runners on the street. So like in Ottawa, they don't have like delivery service. You go see drug dealers on the street, basically. So yeah, I was in Majors Hill and I banged some girl there, and then I banged another girl in a monument that was in a public place. But truth be told, here in Canada, Ottawa is the place where there's more public sex than anywhere else in Canada.
Because the girls can walk around topless there.
More so, they say that women are more sexual. The more intelligent a woman is, the more sexually adventurous they are.
Really?
Yeah, that's an actual.
I thought it'd be the other way around.
No, because dumb girls don't have rhythm. Even, I mean, how many times has that happened to you? Right? She's just a dead fuck.
Yeah, it's happened. Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah.
And how smart was she? Like, let's be honest here.
Well, I don't know if I agree with that so much, and I'm not going to dive into it because we can banter back and forth about it.
Sure.
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
All I'm saying is that there is a study out there saying that the reason for it is because in Ottawa, you have more universities than anywhere else in Canada.
Yeah.
You have more politicians who get caught public sex all the time there, who typically have degrees, so on and so forth. And if there's anything that I remember from the sexual industry in Ottawa, in that area, you had more fantasy stuff happening there than you did like here in Alberta. That's the truth. And the like, you could always whenever like a fantasy call came in, you knew the guy was pretty fucking smart because he was so detailed about the fantasy. like you knew that. And you knew like if you ever saw the guy, he was probably going to be wearing a suit. He was probably going to be like a somebody. He was probably a somebody. Like you knew that.
You know how on Canada Day there's always fireworks?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like as everybody's gathering around the legislature in the heart of downtown Edmonton, behind our Parliament building, that's where the fireworks go off. And I just decided to lift up her skirt and bend her over a concrete pillar and just plow her there as like hundreds of people were walking by cheering me on.
How many people do you think do that?
I don't know, but like I felt like, what was that one movie with Jason Statham where he had to like keep his heartbeat going, otherwise he would die or something? Crank.
Oh yeah, okay,
Yeah. You know when he's like slamming that chick in the middle of the parking lot or on the road or something like that, and he's got all those people cheering for him?
Yeah.
That's literally how it was. I felt like a celebrity.
How many bathrooms?
How many bathrooms in churches?
Yeah.
2.
How many?
And 1 closet.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And like I always had like this creepy line where I'd be like, God just high-fived you.
Classy. That's so classy.
Well, for who? Me or her?
Both.
Hey, I think it was us getting in touch with our higher power.
Yeah, God came upon her. I don't know how many times I heard that in the Catholic Church. God just came upon her. She got pregnant. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
I had this British girl this one time, and when she came, she was like, I've arrived. Instead of like, I'm coming, I've arrived. Yeah.
Wow.
That was interesting.
One of the things that I realized, and I don't know if guys really do this, but I know for sure girls do, or I could say generally, I could say this. I've come to understand that girls, when they're feeling low self-esteem, they go out and try to get nailed. And for a girl, let's face it, it's probably a little bit easier than it is for a guy. Now, this is what I realize is when guys have a low self-esteem trying to get nailed or trying to get laid in a bar, they typically don't. Like
if I have low self-esteem, I just would call an escort.
There you go.
Because then it's like, I'm getting laid.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a for sure thing.
Yeah, I've spent way more than $300 at a bar.
Yeah.
It's actually healthier. I think it's healthier.
I think we all
avoid all the drinking. You're just like, doot.
Well, and I think it's one of, like, I know when I first broke up with my first significant, like, long-term relationship, which was over 3 years, I was just, like, hounding at the bar all the time and trying to, like, just saying stupid shit to girls to try to get laid. And I almost felt like I was that 14-year-old kid again that I prefaced that's like, why can't I just get laid? And you're like, you're almost crying because you just want to fuck something, but you can't.
I feel sorry for, like, I got a buddy that just got out of the pen.
Yeah.
And, like, he's on the straight and narrow, and he's changed his life around. So he doesn't just want anybody.
Yeah.
And he's, like, on the verge of, like, it's been a few years.
Yeah.
and like he's trying to like maintain whatever couth and integrity he can without succumbing to the nature of the beast and going to the rub and tug.
Yeah.
And he's having a hard time. I really like, my heart goes out to him.
Well, I think there's another study too that says if you haven't been getting laid, it's hard to get laid.
Well, it's law of attractions, right?
It's
You
one of those things.
build up that momentum.
Yeah.
And
then that's it. But
start notching the wall above your headboard.
Yeah. Did you ever do stuff like that?
No, I stopped counting after 100.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the life does that too. I mean, I think there's a lot of, well, you know what though? So there's a lot of like sex that happens in the criminal world because of whatever, just bullshit. It's not a real relationship or anything like that. But you know what? In recovery in the rooms, it's the same fucking thing. Like you're corralling a bunch of people in early recovery who feel really shitty about themselves. And the only way they're going to feel better about themselves is if they fuck another person that they think that they can help. That it happens all the time. Like in NA, Narcotics Anonymous, we always say like that's the place where it's like herpes are us. Because if you don't have it, you're going to get it. Did you sit in one of their seats? like that was the saying, you know? And then Cocaine Anonymous, it was like, well, you can't keep an attraction, like you can't keep your attention for longer than 3 fucking minutes. Like that's like the biggest thing. Most people in Cocaine Anonymous, that's their issue do
you ever see that people become like reliant and codependent on meetings?
Well, it can. It's
Are
definitely.
Were you codependent on meetings?
Well, I think so. I did 90 meetings in 90 days, which is kind of described, and there's a reason for it because what ends up happening is you start realizing that it's a good sound off, right? So like it's a good place to basically blow off steam and find the solution for your problems, without going to the bar trying to come up with your own solutions, because those ain't working so well, right? So I think in the beginning, you almost have to find a group, right, that gives you that good orderly direction or gives you an understanding of God, right? You need that, because I know I was so far off the mark of making decisions on my own. I was incapable. I realized that's how sick I was in the beginning.
But how can you like sit down with a group of people and have them give you an idea of God?
Well,
did
because
I misunderstand?
Because for whatever it is, I mean, nobody's actually directing the group, so to say.
Yeah.
So, because there's no real director in that group, all of a sudden, what you start finding is that everybody's saying the same solution. And see, it's not about the situation, ever. What it's really always about is the feelings that were felt. So you and I, our stories are very similar, and this is why we can understand that story, right? Because it's similar. But let's talk about somebody who hit the bottom and never went to jail. They would never understand our story.
Yeah.
What they would understand, though, is the feeling of hopelessness. That's what matters. So if we can start from the understanding of a feeling, and hopelessness for me and you is not exactly the same thing, but the understanding's pretty close.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about what it's like to move on from there.
Well, so you meet them, you meet them with empathy at wherever you can find it, and build on that.
But it's a give and take, because it's not just me meeting them; it's them meeting me where I'm at too.
Yeah.
So like, I've learned more from newcomers than I have from the old fucks in the room. And when I was a newcomer, I learned more about recovery from the old fucks than I did from the new people. So like now that I'm a little bit further along in my recovery, I learn more from the newcomers than I do from the older people in the room. Like I've learned their stuff.
Yeah.
But what I keep learning from is like, or what the reminder is what those new people are going through. So like, for instance, when we're talking about relationships even, and you and I have our off the mic conversations, what ends up happening that I start recognizing is where I was in my early development of healthy relationships, and my early development of codependent no more, and my early development of like boundaries and the benefits of what those boundaries are. And so that's what you're reminding me of. So the give and take is, those are my spot checks. Oh yeah, I remember dealing with that. And then in the moment as I'm talking to you, I'm thinking, I'm reflecting on myself saying, have I tightened that up myself? Yeah, okay, I'm okay with that. And then I move on. Because if we rest upon our laurels, and I know you don't like that word, but if you rest upon that and you don't have anybody coming to talk to you about the development that they're going through, you're going to forget and you're going to fall back into that trap. Because I've been longer an asshole than I've been a good guy in my life. Mm-hmm. And it's easier for me to fall into being asshole mode than being good guy Justin. And so that's as much as I need new people coming in and they need me to show them, that's the relationship that's going back and forth. And that's the best explanation I can give it, because really, in my opinion, I'm almost trying to explain the spirit of a higher power to a degree.
You're living the spirit of a higher power.
But trying to explain why those meetings and all that stuff is necessary. That's why when you were saying, like, how does a group show you God?
Yeah.
Well, that in itself, that's the best I can explain that. Because no matter what, the outcome becomes good, orderly direction.
Yeah.
Right? And then the other thing, like the 90 and 90, you do have to become codependent on people who are healthier than you, because you don't have a fucking idea. Like, you have to learn. It's like this. Remember, you heard this all the time for sure as a kid. You want to be a duck, you got to walk like a duck. You got to talk like a duck, and you got to act like a duck, and then you're a fucking duck. Okay? If you want to be recovered, you don't know the first fucking step. Accept it. Go let them become your model. Not your idol, your model. And then once you do that, then you can experience who you are. That's how long this takes. Because the one thing that we all know going in, I didn't like me. Whatever me was coming into recovery, I didn't fucking like it. But you know what I did like? I liked Lenny and Larry. I liked those guys. And those guys seemed to like themselves. So how do I mimic them to the best of my... Because that I can mimic anybody, right? I was so transparent and so facade-ish. I could mimic anybody in my life. But I couldn't be me. I wasn't there. And then I learned how to be something of them. And then from then, my next response used to be, well, the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous has taught me this. Still wasn't Justin. And what I kept fucking up all the way through that was I would get a girlfriend when I got close to seeing Justin, because it scared the shit out of me.
To see the real you.
Well, yeah, I'm starting to see that, yeah, I'm a little bit like Lenny. Yeah, I'm a little bit like Larry. I'm not acting so much, and this is actually, fuck that. Let's go back into a relationship.
That's self-sabotage.
But that's what it was. And this is after reading Codependent No More. Right? Like, that's where I was at. And then all of a sudden, like I said, the priesthood is what, the discerning for the priesthood is what saved me. In a capacity of learning who the fuck I am. Because without that alone time, I would have never, ever, ever gotten to a place where I was ready to accept having to be alone with myself, a quiet room, alone with myself, my thoughts, no journal.
Motherfucker tries doing digger time.
It becomes
that's where I found myself too, is in solitude in jail.
And then, yeah, but I think, so I've been in Sol, and I think the difference is between there and here is that environment is very controlled. And then when you're out here, the influences, it takes, I think, in my opinion, it takes more of a discipline in the outside world to maintain that solitude.
Yeah.
Right? So and then you start realizing that you're maintaining it for the benefit of you. Right? And if people actually, in the meetings, did what was suggested of them, don't get into a relationship, learn who you are, you have the community that can direct you through that self-loathing and needing to get laid, like we were just talking about lowered expectations. That's why we lower expectations, right? So when you're in that place, you use the meetings as the community. Because remember I said the thing that saved me from chastity and breaking the observation of vow of chastity was the community of the religious. That's on, like I didn't have a need for it. So you could actually use the community of an anonymous program to be in that place of not needing to get laid, not needing to manipulate some poor girl or some poor guy. I mean, I heard this from somebody in the meetings a long time. They said, if you're coming to a meeting to look for a date, you're in the wrong fucking place because we're all sick here. Some girl's going to steal your wallet and some guy's going to give you herpes. That's exactly what this person said in the room.
Or both.
Exactly. Or vice versa. Right? Because there were a bunch of sick people in the room. And if you go into that realizing that you all have the same consortment of an idea of finding a positive solution in a nonchalant, roundabout way, then it makes sense. But if you're going for your own individual need to get something out of it, that's not it. That's not the place for you to be. You're not ready for a lifestyle of rigorous honesty and recovery, in my opinion. You're like not that kind of abstinent based. Harm reduction might be the kind of recovery that you need. And that's recovery too. If you look at the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, they talk about harm reduction all of the time in the book. That's where the concept comes from. See, AA never said, and this is the biggest thing. I'm going off a bit on a tangent here, but AA never said to stop drinking. All they said is that you had to have a desire to stop drinking. They didn't say you had to be fucking sober. They just said that you had to have a want. That's the only need for membership. That's it. That's it. They didn't say stop. As a matter of fact, in that book, it tells me that I have to keep alcohol in my home in case somebody's so drunk and coming off alcohol and they need to detox so that they won't die. I need to dose them with booze to bring them down gently. That's harm reduction. Where did the so this whole idea of people saying, those AA stuck-up fucks, they just... No. You're completely wrong. Flat out, you're wrong. That's not what we're about. And I think that's the misconception about anybody looking at any relationship from the outside and being ignorant about it. You just don't know. You wouldn't understand the dynamic of that group unless I'm sitting here talking about it. Just like I wouldn't understand the dynamic between you, the relationship between you and your significant other if we hadn't talked about it. Mm-hmm. That takes honesty, right? And it's difficult sometimes to trust the other person sitting across from you to have that kind of honesty in order to find a solution, right? But the beautiful thing about groups of this nature, whether it be AA or whatever fucking group you're with, is you don't have to have trust whether they're saying something that's bullshit or not. It doesn't really matter. What matters is, does that solution seem usable to you? And the beautiful thing is when you're sitting in a room, you're going to hear 30 different solutions, maybe 15 different solutions. You almost get to pick. I would suggest picking the hardest one. The one that you don't want to do is the one that needs to get done. And that's the fact. That's ultimately always ruled me right.
I'm racking my brain right now for something I don't want to do.
It always comes up. You know what I mean? And I think it's always this precipice. Like I've had these thoughts where I was like, fuck, am I really doing the right thing? And if I'm not doing the right thing, this is going to be really hard if I have to stop this. Right? Not just a relationship, but anything in life, right? It's a hard decision to make. And when you're looking at it, you have to assess, is it benefiting me or is it not benefiting me? Have I given it the appropriate amount of time? Is this where I'm supposed to be? You notice how it's not about, is this where my relationship is supposed to be? Because if I did that, what would that be, Kenny?
Codependent.
That's right. The relationship doesn't equate into the next, into the thing that needs to be done. It doesn't equate. What equates is if it's beneficial for me, it'll be beneficial for others. When you meditate, do you meditate for the benefit to have peace of mind for yourself, or do you benefit to have peace of mind for others? Are you a drop in the ocean, or are you providing a stream to the ocean?
Both.
You need, in my opinion, you need to provide a stream. And that's why, for myself, that's why I meditate. I meditate so that I can have a clear mind, so that I have a clear mind with others. And I can contribute to the universe in that capacity. Because if I'm trying to draw from my own peace of mind, I'm just a selfish fuck. And I find monkey mind goes crazy. And I'm like there for like my own self.
Whoa, wait a minute. What you just said was really significant to me. Because like when I came out of jail, I was in a healthy routine of meditation.
Sure.
I had the time.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the distractions, and it got done. And I've been able to see, actually, like, notice over the last year and a half, a decline in my consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Because I haven't been meditating enough. I've still been pumping in the information.
Yeah.
The information and studying and fucking books have not slowed down whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that has slowed down is my habitually going within and just trying to be in the void.
Floating helps.
Yeah, floating does help.
But it's to find the routine of that all of the time. And I think floating is almost like the super meditation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's the place where if you did it all of the time, like if you made a routine of that like 3 times a week, I think you would almost lose the significance of it. So like before any float that I do, I almost prepare myself by making sure that I have mat time, as I call it. I sit down and I meditate without being in the float. And then when I go to the float, it's almost like that's the time to conclude that meditation chapter of my life.
Huh.
That's how I prepare myself. So
I'm gonna try that.
So I look at the floats as like going to the Grand Master, so to say. And then it's almost like that's where I figured, like I said, that's where I had the epiphany about the podcast.
Yeah. Hey, do you know when that, what is it, Wednesdays and Fridays at that Buddhist temple around here?
Yeah, I'm going there tonight.
Are you going tonight?
Yeah, the Friendship Center?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm going tonight. Depends, though. I've got a bunch of podcast stuff to do. But I typically try to get it in, like, so my days are Sundays.
Yeah.
You've seen my spot. I've got a little spot. And
Yeah.
I have my own ritual. And that's kind of why, I make sure that that's a part. And I can tell within 3 weeks. Like I was said in a blog, actually, I was talking about a postinea. And I need to do a postinea. And my injury that happened last week forced me into bed. Forced me to stop going to the gym.
Yeah, but you came up with a good idea.
For what? Oh, the yurt thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyways, when I was in the blog, what I was talking about with the postinea is that I need those 2 days where my phone is off. I need those 2 days where I'm fasting. And then what ends up happening is on a 3-hour cycle, I do 1 hour of meditation, which means I don't sleep. I sleep 3 hours. My phone goes off. I get up, I sit on the mat, and I meditate again for another hour. And then I go back to bed and I get up and I meditate for another hour. And then I go, that's what I do over that postinea time. And I have not had a postinea once this year. And I think that's the reason why things are going the way that they're going, is because I haven't actually honored the need to do that. I need to fast. I need to be in that place where I'm alone. My phone is off. Nobody can get a hold of me. And sure, you can go to a retreat. And I think like the reprieve for that would be meditation and a float, but nothing compares to a postinea.
I've never even heard that terminology before. Postinea.
So it's a Russian term, and it means depravity with nothing is where it comes from. And to find peace in nothing. And you'll find like I said, I use the float as a conclusion to the chapter of my meditation, and I use the postinea to spawn the new chapter of my meditation sessions that are coming. And by doing that, I need to try to have a postinea once a month. That's basically where, and I haven't had one in a while.
We should fucking get a yurt and put it on
a yurt.
Get a yurt and put it on the roof, and just do a postinea on the roof. Yo, I was thinking like at my house, you know how I have that garage with that fence around it at the top? We could put a yurt right on top of that thing.
Well, I honestly would like to be in the mountains if I can. That's kind of where I like to do it. I have done, like I do most of my postineas at home. You don't necessarily have to go anywhere. That's the beautiful thing about it, because really what it is, it's nothing, right?
Hey, I want everybody to Google a yurt.
Groovy Yurts.
Check out yurts. YURT.
And check out Groovy Yurts. They're amazing people. I just talked to them this week, and maybe there's some stuff coming down the pipe for Life on Life's Terms with utilizing yurts in some sort of capacity.
Yo, the hand painted like furniture and shit like that.
Yeah,
I was thinking about just getting a furniture set just for the house
from Mongolia.
Mongolian hand painted furniture set. It's beautiful.
It's great. Yeah, I don't know if you've ever. I would encourage you to try a postinea.
2 days, you say?
Yeah. And you get to feast before, and you feast after. But you have to do it in a place where you can find solitude.
Yeah, I can't do that at home, that's for sure.
Or find an arrangement in order to do it. That's that. Like, I'm pretty lucky that I have, well, my living situation is my living situation. But yeah, if you can find that way to do a postinea where you can find some sort of solitude, like say, this is my bedroom for the next 2 days. Don't come in here. That might work, you know? And you basically almost ground yourself like when you were a kid. And you don't eat for 2 days. You just have water. You're allowed tea. You're allowed to write. You're allowed to read. And I put the restraint of 3 hours, no meditation, 1 hour meditation. And I do that for 2 days. And I don't allow myself, like for the postinea, because I'm starting my next meditation chapter in my life, I don't allow myself to interject any thoughts of what needs to be done. It's called the nothing meditation. You literally think of nothing. And any time that you do have a thought of something that's not done and anxiety comes up, you have to ask yourself if you have put a solution towards it, and are you just making something up? And then after you meditate, you go back to your journal and you write down what it was and your solution. And then by the end of your postinea, after your feast, you'll be thinking straight again. And you read your journal over again. And the one thing that keeps, you'll see the pattern. And you'll be able to discern whether you have a problem or not. And it really fits nice. And then you work on it for a month or so. And then right before your postinea, go for a float. And float it away.
You know, I don't know if the listeners feel the same as I do, man. But I sit down for a fucking conversation with you, I feel like I'm at the shrinks or the counselors. And like I leave here with like a whole new bag of goodies to apply.
I don't know. I mean, I think these are just things that we learn over time.
Yeah, I know, but just like that whole process of it, like I was just like there with you mentally, picturing it, doing it, like feeling it, and it's like I really think I can get something out of that.
Oh, practicing it for sure, man. For sure. But you have to hold your mat time. So you have to ask yourself what you can do. Can you sit for 15 minutes? Or is it 5 minutes? And be honest with yourself. Don't push yourself too far.
Yeah.
Because, so let's say smoking. Okay, let's use smoking. And I'm not going to say that this is going to stop you from smoking, because it's not. But smoking is literally an idea that you're hurting yourself. So what is it that you don't like about yourself? Let's say it's your self-esteem. That's what you don't like about. General way, it's your self-esteem. So you start your meditation off tomorrow or today. And anytime that you're anytime throughout the day that your self-esteem is an issue, you're going to say, I'm giving it 5 minutes today at 9 o'clock. I don't have to think about it right now. At 9 o'clock, I'm going to give it 5 minutes because it's all I can sit down and meditate for. So then you're going to sit down, you're going to meditate, and you're going to think about that situation where your self-esteem, where you felt inadequate. And in your safe space within your meditation, you're going to show yourself how the solutions are of not being inadequate. And that's what you're going to practice over and over and over again. Every day at 9 o'clock, you're going to give yourself 5 minutes. That's all it takes. You just need quiet. Please don't come in the room. Respect this. Give yourself those 5 minutes. And then when you start writing this stuff down and actively journaling about your solutions, what you're going to find is that you're going to be able to practice it. You're going to be aware of it, just like you are with the codependent no more thing. And then once you become aware of it, you're going to start practicing some of these solutions to see if it pans out. It's an experiment. And if monkey mind or your mind starts racing when you're trying to deal with your inadequacy of self-esteem, you have to understand that's your self-conscious saying, I like that problem. You're fighting yourself in that moment. So don't fight it. Give your monkey mind a job. Oh, yeah, there's some noises going on over there. What do you think it is? And it comes back and it tells you. And then while it's gone, concentrate on your self-esteem. And it comes back and it says some shit like blah, 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 blah. Say, oh, yeah, go find out where that light's coming from. And then while it's gone, concentrate on your self-esteem. And continue that. Because what you're trying to do in a safe place is find that solution. Mm-hmm. And then from there...
Find the solution or just be open and receptive to a solution?
Both. Right? Because I think finding the solution is being open and receptive to a solution.
Yeah.
Right? They complement each other. And then once you start practicing what you're finding in your meditation throughout the day, then you now know you're ready for your float. And your float can become your conclusion or it can become your start sometimes. And then when you go into that float, you let it all go. And then you start thinking about the next thing. And then that's when you set up your postinea. And then when you set up your postinea, that's when you start realizing, okay, this is the plan. This is where I'm at. Sometimes it's not even about a problem. Sometimes your postinea is just, I need this practice. That's what it's about. I need this practice. I've lost gratitude. I tell you what, depriving yourself of food for 48 hours.
That's a serious thing. That takes, it sounds like an easy thing.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not.
It's not. Because we are in such a habit in North America for eating 3 meals a day, sometimes 6, sometimes 7, sometimes 2.
That's right.
But every day.
And then when you go 2 days, you'll find the gratitude back of food. And the other thing is you're going to find when your gratitude is low, if you can't actually find good gratitude, you're also going to find that your depression is there. Your gratitude is in direct proportion to your depression.
My gratitude is my golden key to mental
100%.
freedom.
Yeah, 100%.
It's my go-to.
Yeah.
I start off small things, like my legs. Where would I be without my legs? How would life be if I were just to lose my legs today? Things. And then I go from there and I go internal, my ability to feel emotions and my love for my kids and this and that. And then I'll work my gratitude will work its way out to my external things in my life. But no matter the situation, and I've been in some sticky ones in the last year and a half, I can still bring myself back and almost, I don't know if grounding is the right word, but I think connect back with source through gratitude.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a usable perpetuation towards positivity 100%. And that's definitely, in my opinion, ground zero or step one. And again, we'll go back to this idea of having your goals checked off first thing in the morning, or having your goals checked off throughout the day. It's all you have to focus on. You really don't have to focus on much more than humbling yourself, getting physical activity, being of emotional stability, and being of service for others. There's boils down to those 4 things. That's all you need. However, the practice and the resources that are necessary for meditation in order to adhere to those 4 principles through in your day, those 4 things are like the iceberg. And there's a whole bunch of shit underneath that makes that iceberg work correctly. Because it's not just changing this and that, it's about changing your entire life. And when you change your entire life, you change the relationship with yourself, and then you start changing the relationship with others. And you're going to find that some people just aren't going to like the relationship that you want to provide them. And they'll flake off. They'll go away.
So be it, so it is.
That's right. So our time's up. Let's wrap it up.
Why don't you wrap it up today?
Yeah, okay.
Wrap it up, Jimmy.
So please subscribe and share to all your friends. Where can you find the After Show blog? At www.lifeonlifestermspodcast.com. Please become a Pride member at your soonest convenience. We will not sell your email at any time to anybody. The only reason why we're asking you for your email is so that we can give you a blog or updates on our blogs and updates on upcoming podcasts that are coming out, as well as maybe the themes, so on and so forth. It allows you to participate within the Pride community of Life on Life's Terms.
If you ever want to come on the show, drop us your email and let us know.
If we can work it out, yeah.
It could be a possibility.
If you would like to become a financial contributor, we do have a Patreon page. It's www.patreon.com/lifeonlifesterms, both capital L's. Contribute as little as $5 a month, and we will send you all the good vibes we can. Thanks to all the listeners for listening, and you guys have a wonderful Friday.
Thanks for wrapping it up.